It's snowing here too, guys.
It's snowing there? It is
Yeah.
16 degrees. Yuck. No snow.
And I got my nails to look like snow.
That's probably why it's snowing,
I know. Last night was a super moon. Hadn't been that way in 17 years. Hope you burned some things you want to leave behind.
which is what we're talking about today. So that's perfect.
There we go.
Welcome back, everybody. And you know what? Just so I don't forget to say this, wherever you are listening to us, if you can head over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, we would love that. No
We
permission
would.
necessary. You can watch us as we talk about all the things and all faces I'm sure I make. Because most of you probably just hear us in your earbuds, but we are live on YouTube as well.
And we would love also if you are just listening to our episodes occasionally on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you stream your podcasts, please hit the follow button. Thank you so much. It's not the month of giving, but is it the month of giving? Give to no permission necessary and just give us a follow. We don't need any monetary donations. We just
Yeah.
need some
We
follows.
just want some support. Which
Yeah.
I will say, let's talk about a win from this week. That this morning I received two really lovely messages from people. One was a former employee, and one was this woman that I've mentored for business over the years. But out of the blue, one of them messaged me and was like, you are just so inspiring. Like, I love following you. I was just ranting about you to my sister. And then the other one left me a voice note and was like,
That's so
I just want to let
nice.
you I just want to let you know I've been like ranting to people in the field about you, how you're such a powerhouse. And, I'd really like to get together, but like this whole thing. And I was just like, you know what? That I'm bringing that into 2026, just randomly letting people know when you think about them. It's nice.
I feel like that is really nice. And, I don't know if I've ever told you this. I probably have, but there's been many a times in my life that when I'm thinking of someone, I'm very cognizant to reach out. Right. And it could be somebody who I haven't talked to in 5 years. It could be somebody who I haven't talked to in 10 years. If I have a dream about somebody, because typically there's some level of telly going on, which is, some level
Yeah.
of energy and vibrations that are connected to the other person. And in a lot of situations, that's either lifted somebody up, potentially given them life-saving treatment, because I think a lot about people that are in their struggle and in their challenge and in their relapse potentially. But it really is reaching out when no one's watching, doing something for somebody else when no one's watching, not looking for praise about it, just to really, you know, let's bring some let's bring some uplifting energy to this world. Okay.
That
We're coming in
reminds me.
hot to 2026.
Seriously, I was actually just messaging with somebody the other day because I had posted something about like normalizing like referrals and the whole marketing thing. It was basically in the essence of like your biggest skill is like helping somebody without expecting something in return, essentially.
Yes.
Which, we've talked about this on other episodes, but for good or bad, I feel like in our field, there is a little bit of a quid pro quo. Like, I help you. Now I have a favor. You're going to help me. I think it's like unstated sometimes. And I
And I
think
think that's with a lot of industries. I think that's
a lot, right?
in business, in relationships, we get into this place where it becomes transactional.
And I've had people say to me, like, well, what are you going to like charge them to do that? Or what are, you should think about XYZ if you're going to help this person out. And it's like, I just don't naturally think like that. I just, if I'm in a position, I kind of just feel like God has put me in a position to help people.
Uh-huh.
And it's not always up to me what that help looks like. I think because I'm a therapist, a lot of times people assume that means that I am providing therapy services to help people or getting people into treatment. But
Uh-huh.
I will tell you that a lot of the ways that I am kind of asked to show up and help people really doesn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are ways that you can be. I think this goes back to service versus a paid position. we as humans need to be involved in some level of service. At least that's my mantra, right? And so doing that in a way where you can give back, not expecting anything in return. When you're doing it and you're earning a paycheck, you are expecting something in return. You're showing up to a job and then expecting to get paid. So delineating that also in 2026, I think is important. Like, where am I being of service? Where am I teaching my kids to be of service? And where am I, showing up? Because yes, it can feel passionate and purposeful what I do for work, but I'm also, naturally collecting a paycheck. So
I think I have passed that message along. I'll tell you a little story about when we were in New York City recently. There was a woman, which I will tell you, since my last visit to New York, there wasn't really a ton of homeless people on the streets.
interesting.
I don't know if it was because it was busy around the holiday times, and I don't know why, but it just wasn't as prominent. There's always some, but I feel like the
Right.
last couple times I've been, it was a lot. Um, and I've always had conversations. We have this with my children. I'm the one that gives money out the window. What you talked about this, I feel like
Mhm.
before.
Yeah, 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 of course.
And mainly because of my history, and also because, like, I don't ever want my children to grow up talking negatively about those people, because we don't know. We don't know what their story is, or why they're on that corner, or we're
Right.
not going to pass judgment. We're going to say a prayer. We're going to help if we can, whatever. So we walked by this woman who was, like, they have like the scarves and the hat, like those tables that they're selling
Yeah,
stuff. And there's this
sure.
woman standing next to it, and she was emphatically asking for money to help her buy food. And we're crowded. It's a
Sea of
busy
people.
sidewalk, sea of people. We just keep walking. My daughter
Let's
asked
just
me,
paint the picture for 1 second that Jill decided to go see the Rockettes with her kids the day after Thanksgiving. Not, I mean, basically the busiest day of the year in New York City. Proceed.
I don't think it was, though, because the tree wasn't even lit yet.
Okay.
The train was crazy because there was a basketball game at MSG. That's what the issue was.
Well, okay, because when
But
I saw those
in the
pictures, I
city,
was like,
no, that was
"Are you
because of the
okay?"
UConn game, all the
Okay.
people on the train, but, like, in the city,
Okay.
it was
So
manageable.
did you buy the table of goods from
No, I kept walking in the sea of people. No, not because it's the end of the day. I have no reason, right? My daughter, she goes, "Mom, why didn't you help that woman?" I didn't have an answer. She kept asking me why I didn't help this woman for the entire block. Like, she wanted an answer because she could not understand, because, like, typically
You
I
do?
do. I do. And so, like,
Did you turn around?
I did not turn around.
Wow.
Because
This is
again, like, literally, like, for me to then turn around, and that it would have been a whole thing. But it's not really a good excuse. But then I'm still thinking about it today. Like, I thought about it the rest of the night. I'm like, why didn't you help that woman? Like, I could have helped her. I could have gave her some money to go buy. She was looking for money to get a room for the night, I think. Um, but yeah, and I didn't really have a good explanation. But what I did say to her, though, I said, unfortunately, Audrey, I can't help everybody that needs help. And so sometimes I have to pick and choose where I'm most needed, and where my help can be utilized, whether that's my financial resources, whether that's my time, like,
sure.
can't help everybody.
No,
But
we cannot.
I will say, though, bringing into 2026, the tail end of 2025, I really did have kind of a aha moment about service in general. Like, how am I showing up beyond just my own needs and my business needs? Because, like, I feel like showing up for the business and my staff and all of that, like, it still trickles down to being self-serving. Like, that's kind of like what
Yes.
that's like, I had this moment where it's like, all right, there's a lot about you that's going on right now. And that doesn't
Wow.
feel great.
Alan, are you listening? Alan, paging Alan.
Yeah, we're turning over a new leaf in 2026. Um,
It's
so
so good.
I was like, all right, we got to think, and not in, like, I'm sure from an external point of view, maybe Alan probably got the most affected, if we're being honest. If we're being honest, because he lives with me. But beyond that, like, I don't think anybody
He just lives with
externally,
you? No, he's married to you and he's
yeah,
the father of your kids.
But I'm saying because he sees it all the time, like, he
Yes,
probably
yes,
sees my, like, selfishness more than anybody else, but, like, externally, I don't think anybody else was probably like, "Wow, she's really, like, a self-centered." But that's what happens if, like, I'm not watching
yes.
out for that, like, because we just get swept up in, "Oh, we gotta do this, we gotta do this, we gotta do this," and it's like, you know what made me think of it? It was a podcast, that I was listening to, and the woman was just talking about, like, everything's like me, 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 and she was, like, talking about all this stuff, and it was all these examples that I never really thought of as being, like, self-centered, like, thinking about
Yeah.
you, but it's like, "Okay, yeah,
So, I mean,
we're trying not to do that anymore."
give some examples, because I feel like I can name a few, which would be one is, like, working out, right? You think you're doing it because it's, like, contributing at least that's my experience, like, this morning. Working out, feeling like this is contributing to my healthy lifestyle to then be available, right? Secondary gain is available to my kids and longevity and,
Mhm.
but that's still me time,
Well, that
you know?
depends because I feel like the workout stuff for me, I purposely schedule that before anybody's up so that it doesn't
Right.
impact to the family.
Right. Okay, so give me an example of something that you would say is that you could identify with when that woman shared that about, it may be dressed up a little bit more nicely with a bow on it, but it's still about you.
I honestly feel like it was a lot of the work stuff.
Yeah.
Like like I found myself getting into a little bit of a resentment around, like, I'm always, like, giving, giving, giving. I'm showing up for all these people. I'm doing this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, you're doing that because you're trying to help people perform in a way to better the business, which at the end of the day, like, you're doing that for, your own gain. Like, there's
Yeah.
a reason you want that, right? And so I think it just is it's a subtle shift, but it's like, how am I pouring into people for their development, whether or not it it betters us? Because there is a difference, right? Like there
Yes.
are there are ways that I show up for staff or other people that like that has no impact on me. Sometimes it's even we've talked about it here, like sometimes it's having a conversation of like you might be better off somewhere else and
Well, I
helping them
think
get.
that's been a nice shift for me because I have 1099 contractors, right, who collaborate with our team in a variety of different ways. And switching from a time where I had, a full roster of W-2 employees, their requirements are just vastly different, right? And so are the requirements of the employer. And so yesterday, bringing everyone together was really my mission and vision for bringing a bunch of folks together to meet one another was to help improve their book of business, right? Like, how do we support individuals when it doesn't necessarily affect our, you know, bottom line, right? And yeah, that offers connection and yeah, that offers community. And yes, they, I'm sure, felt very much supported. And it gave them an opportunity to say, hey, I would love to know this person who I've collaborated with on a case, and how can we support one another in a different way, right? And so I don't know. I do think I do love the idea of just stepping back, not only in the work, not only in the workspace, but also just in family space, in your community, in my community, and saying, where am I being a giver, rather than a taker? I mean, that's such an old school kind of foundational principle that you and I have been raised with, and that even happened before recovery. I mean, I think recovery obviously offers that because if anyone is listening who's in the recovery space or works with clients in the recovery space, a lot of it is where can you be of service? Where can you be of service? Where can you be of service? But I was taught once I started to, have a life that was more robust than just, you know, a minimum wage job and, renting a room, et cetera, that, what you really have to be aware of and cognizant of is where are you being of service in all the areas of your life. And for me, that means really taking a closer look because those are the things that keep me aligned with my North Star, And if I'm slipping away from that at any given time, yeah, I 100% agree with you when we talk about work, is that work becomes the priority and it is masked by good intent. But really, there's areas that could be more reciprocal, right? Giving without expecting anything in return.
I think it just almost happens for me, and like it's like a dysregulation thing because I've just come out of I feel like just coming out of like a higher stress time with work stuff where, things just felt a little bit more out of control. So then I am trying to like make things feel more in control, whatever that,
Mhm.
mind feels like. But then what ends up happening is that I'm actually doing more than want to be doing and what I've kind of set as boundaries for myself.
Mhm.
Um, and my husband is usually the mirror when he's like, "Hey, like this is what's going on. Like you're on your phone more. You're kind of," cuz I find it so hard if I'm in the zone with some of that stuff to disconnect that then like I
Same.
can't really be present. And I had a situation recently where I was able to say, like, hey, this was like a quick transition into us having like date night time. And now I can't turn the work brain off. Like, it was really hard for me to be present, which, like, that doesn't happen to me a ton, but it's one of those moments where it's like, I actually just saw somebody talking about this how, like, if home life bleeds into work life, starts to become resentful at the home life. And if work life starts bleeding into home life, then you start becoming resentful of the work life.
Well, how much time are you giving yourself to transition? I mean, I talked to you last night at the end of my day, and I had gone from like a quick transition from end of work to, a meeting with my husband to, a conversation with a friend earlier in the morning. It was like back to back to back to back to back. And there was not a lot of room for transition. And so when that happens, I do have people that are able to call me out on it. And I'm going to speak this into existence because I feel like there's much more accountability when I say it out loud on the podcast, which did happen a couple months ago when I spoke into existence the whole holiday stress free, like be a planner, be proactive. It's working. So guys, thank you for the accountability. But one of the things that I want to be more accountable to in 2026 is really utilizing Insight Timer. I mean, Insight Timer, if you want to like support our podcast, we're here for that. And I have been doing that in the morning, just a 5-minute quick meditation. It doesn't have to be anything long. And even in
I
the
know
middle of
I'm
the day, if
struggling
I
with
can just
being
click that on, I
Mhm.
can really do wonders. I mean, my husband and I went from that quick transition from work to, a meeting together, and there was this ability to have a
To
quick
just ground
meditation
yourself.
to ground myself.
I think part of what I wanna bring into 2026 is that transition time. Like, there are times, and we just talked about this, there are times where somebody's asking me questions or wants to download about something work related, but I'm in the middle of bringing a kid to a soccer thing, bringing a kid to
Yes.
basketball, bringing
Yes.
bringing someone this, we're cooking dinner, this, that, and the other. And then I'm either burning dinner or I'm answering a question that now tomorrow I got to answer for because what I said to do, not really my best work. So it's like I need to be aware that if I'm not fully present in home or at work, like it's not my best space. So I need to like create more of that transition time. I think what I have already noticed this, and I did restructure my schedule going into this new year because what was happening is I was switching tasks so much throughout the day
Yes.
that I was becoming I just wasn't present for any of it. And
Couldn't get
so,
anything done.
well, because for me, if I'm in the zone working on something and then there's like a hard stop and I have to switch my brain and how I'm thinking into something else, especially if it's clients, like if I have to co regulate with another person in the room,
Yes.
especially a client, but that could also be a staff member.
Yes.
If I have to co regulate with that person, but I'm like still thinking about the spreadsheets that I'm working on and this problem that I'm trying to solve, it's really hard for me to co-regulate and be present in the room with that person, and
I mean,
that's not fair to whoever's sitting in front of me. So, I I made a conscious effort. I had to discharge some clients, and I also lumped all my clinical time together so that, like, I can just be in a block space of, like, "This is my clinical time, everybody else can wait, this is what I'm doing now." And it's easier for me to stay in that regulated space for an extended period of time than to, like, switch from that to a business task, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that you've helped me with, and I think a lot of the things that we talk about on here, we practice. There's some days where Jill will text me and say, "Hey, I need this, this, and this from you." And I'm like, "There's no way you're getting that from me right now." Because then I can just be honest, like, "Hey, I'm in the midst of this and I will get it to you and it will likely be tonight when you've powered down, but don't worry that it'll be done before tomorrow." So again, just being transparent and honest with your transitions. And I think also that's a lot of
And
what
your
you've
work
helped.
style.
Right.
Like, we all have
For
different
me,
ways that we work.
yeah, and I want to make sure that I'm following, you know, the never-ending to-do list.
I just checked some stuff off from my to-do list that I didn't realize that I did, and that felt great.
Amazing. So when we think about things that we want to really, maybe top 3 things that we're taking with us into 2026. Let's just do a little quick rapid fire to wrap up.
3 things that we're taking into 2026.
Maybe 3 things we're taking in and 3 things we're leaving behind. Doesn't have to be 3, but
The things I'm taking in, number 1, I'm leaving behind being rushed. Being rushed is like
mm,
I am dysregulated immediately if I'm rushed, so I'm gonna leave that behind. Number 2 thing that I'm leaving behind is wasting time. I am really good at wasting time. Like, and honestly, it's like a dissociation thing for me. It's like a
yes.
checkout. It's like
Yeah. A little quick break, a little quick
a little quick
vacation
break, and then it's
on a
like
social
an
media
hour
algorithm.
later an hour later, it doesn't even have to I will go down a research rabbit hole. I mean, I love a rabbit hole.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I just have to be mindful, the morning routine especially. I've really dragged it out and I need to like tighten it up a little bit. The things that I'm bringing in, honestly, I feel like meditation has to be one of the things I bring into 2026.
Great. We love this. Okay.
I am not thrilled about saying that out loud. I'm really not.
It's been nice. I do it with my kids too. We do some
The
deep.
insight timer? The
Yeah, well,
belly
my
breath?
son
I
my
do that
son goes
sometimes.
to a school where he has to do these, he has this little morning huddle, and part of the morning huddle is mountain, they take mountain breaths, which are these big breaths, and they hold their hand up and they go in, out. See, you
Wow.
just did it.
Yeah.
That was that you just did that without me even prompting. And so we've been practicing that. So I think for me, I'm definitely taking in coming with me is meditation. Coming with me is a little bit more of a regimented exercise routine and consistency around it. Not to say that I haven't been doing that, but I think sometimes I can just say it's still dark out. I don't want to get up as early. So it's almost not so much just the exercise. It really is just the quiet time before the kids wake up. And I would say the other thing I'm bringing in is connection with my husband. More time where we can separate from the hustle, So for me, I feel like that's important.
Yeah, I will bring that in too, which I feel like we've called each other out because there's times it's so easy to just end up talking about work.
Exactly. When you
And
work in the same space.
there's times where I'm like, hey, so yeah, I actually don't want to talk about work. I don't want to think about these people. Like, I'm
Yes.
over it. But I think it's holding each other accountable to that. Um,
I think what I'm leaving behind too is I I think I'm leaving behind, really closing a chapter that I feel like has been closed of like my previous, just my previous chapters, my previous iterations of life. I think sometimes I like to kind of peek back there a little bit and sometimes ruminate back there a little bit more than I should. And whether that's from a work perspective, whether that's from past relationships, as in, past friendships, past work relationships, so I feel like I'm just letting some of that energy go. And if those individuals are supposed to travel back at some point, they will. And if they're not, they're not. So, and it's not even from a place of, you know, resentment or anything like that. It's just that sometimes I ruminate and then that brings me away from present, the relationships that are currently in my life and where I'm nurturing my
yes.
relationships. So I feel like I'm leaving some of the past chapters and iterations behind. And I'm also leaving behind rushing. I mean, or really just being late. And I'm speaking that into existence because somewhere along the line, I became someone who's late.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
My
And it's
brother's
not
always
even like
late and
I'm
we make fun of
late.
him.
It's not even that I'm, like, really late, it's just that I push the limit on the time, like, I don't give myself even 1 minute buffer.
Transition time, yeah.
I'm leaving behind the rushed transitions.
I heard the other day that 2025 was the year of I don't know what the I don't know if it's the animal or something, but basically they were saying how 2025 was the year of shedding, of letting go, of everything kind of like something's kind of crumbling or falling apart.
Yeah.
And I identify with that. I just think it's more in terms of how I view things, how I see
Yes.
things, like not in terms of like my life fell apart, but just like, oh, there's just some layers that had to kind of come off and go away. And so I agree with bringing in to 2026 is like it's actually the year of the phoenix. So it's like rebuilding, rebirth, all that stuff.
Mhm.
But it's like at the age that I'm at and the things that I have going on and the full life that I have, what I'm not bringing into 2026 is drama or any sort of conflict. I'm not here for it. I'm not doing it. So I'm bringing into 2026 some alignment around if we're vibing, we're vibing. If we're not, that's cool too. But I'm not forcing anything in 2026. I want 2026 to be easy. And what I mean by it doesn't mean that I'm shying away from hard work. I don't even know if that's possible for me. But what I am saying is it's going to just flow.
Okay.
Are you putting on some Mary J in the background for me? I mean, she's right, though. We're just not doing it.
I love that you knew that too. You were like you were dialed in quick.
Yeah.
Taylor,
But I mean,
cue a
do you
little no
agree,
more
though?
drama.
But you agree, though? It's like, we're not doing it's not the vibe. I'm
It's
not
not
here
the
for it.
vibe. It's not the vibe. So we're guys, we're giving you permission to leave some things behind and take some ambitions, take some goals, take some qualities with you into 2026.
And we wanna
So,
hear about what they are. So
yes,
share them with
please
us.
share with us, let us know if there's any, feedback. And we also want to know what we're taking with us in 2026 on no permission necessary. So, what is it that you guys want to hear about? Do you want to hear about topics? Do you want to hear any good uh, you know, interviews? Do you have people you would like to hear that you'd like us to invite on the podcast? Tag
Yes.
them, mention them, spam us
Let
with
us
all
know.
your requests, and welcome 2026, y'all. We made it.